Hello everyone, I am Yuvraj Singh, a student of Jindal School of Banking and Finance. I'm currently pursuing my second year and I have taken emerging technology as one of the subjects. For the purpose of the same, I have got a project to identify the institution and try to find as in how COVID has impacted our institution and how emerging technologies can help to address the situation. For the purpose of the same, I have identified Gaya Airport as my institution and I'm going to analyze how Gaya Airport was affected by COVID-19 and how emerging technologies can help it. Let's come and have a short analysis of that. Thank you. As you all got to know that I have taken Gaya Airport as my institution, so I will give a brief introduction about the Gaya International Airport. Gaya International Airport is an airport which is situated in the state of Bihar. It stands second in terms of the infrastructural management or the technology which drives the airport in the state of Bihar. The number one position lies with the Patna Airport. Gaya Airport is actually linked to many international cities like Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Sri Lanka, etc. and few Indian domestic cities like Varanasi, Delhi, Kolkata, and etc. The Bodh Gaya International Airport has actually, is one of the emerging airports in the state of Bihar and the northeast state of, India too. Bihar being one of the state which actually needs development, the airport also is in, complete state and required need to get itself adapted to the use of, the emerging technologies, especially after the times of COVID-19. Now, let's see what is the situation of the Gaya Airport presently. As we all know that the airports were shut down in the month of March because of the outburst of COVID-19, Gaya Airport also had to shut down. At that time, there were many international flights which was grounded at the Gaya Airport and even few domestic flights were also grounded over there too. Gaya Airport is very small in size and it has very limited space. The grounding of all these airports in a very limited space actually made it very tough for the airport authority to manage the airlines as well as the other workforce capabilities to manage them too. Once again, when the airport started opening up, the only domestic travel was allowed. At that time, all the domestic airplanes started working, but still the international flights were just grounded still at that time. Now, we all know that because of limited space, there was chaos, because of the grounding of the plane. But how will the domestic flights which are currently working will manage to land on the same area or take off from the same area, which actually, managing the chaos, parking of such airplane. Apart from these, the workforce is actually coming back to the airport too. The workforce need actually training in terms of COVID-19 protocol, rules and regulation. Currently, Airport Authority of Gaya is trying to manage all the management process as possible because Gaya Airport still is not very well adapted with all the new digital technologies or any kind of technology which is required to make any airport as a high-tech airport. Gaya Airport is very simple. And a simple organization is always in a high need of emerging technology to transform it. Among the outbreaks of COVID-19, even after when all the airports have started, working back, Gaya Airport has still not started functioning properly well. The main reason behind that is the ban on the international travel. And Gaya Airport being an international airport has more flight connection from the international city. There are major problems happening in terms of plane, in the functioning of the plane. There are problems found like when a machine is actually, kept after a long period of time, it gets, a rew there and the functioning of that particular part becomes very impossible state. That is just one issue. Apart from that, there are many key issues what actually the airport is trying to face. It's trying to face many issues in terms of healthcare, in terms of managing the queue at the airport, in terms of baggage facility, in terms of communication, in terms of transportation of material, in terms of verification of people, or I could say the verification of ID proofs, in terms of plenty of options. Now, why do you think that these are the key issues? Well, I believe, or I say I could make you believe that these are the major key issues because these are the basic thing what airport actually needs to correct to become more high-tech, more proper in management and more infrastructure to get a spot into the listing of the best airports of India or be it Bihar. Gaya Airport has actually tried to manage its workforce through many uses of care. But still the major key issues lie with sanitization and the lack of basic infrastructure facilities what the Gaya Airport is not getting. Apart from these issues, the major part again lies with the revenue generation. The airport was shut down for many months and it had actually not generated any revenue for those 3 months. It becomes very difficult for them to manage it now. I guess it's very common that when there is no revenue, how will airports start to get back on track because of such infrastructure? Well, the major reason behind that is it is also one of the key issues what the airport authorities have to address it. Let's move on to the second part, that is finding the key solutions for them. Well, there are plenty of key solutions in the market to have these issues get solved. But I would like to talk upon whatever topics I have actually studied in my course of emerging technology. The first one being AI based application or AI based platform. Artificial intelligence can help the airport to solve or to get a solution in many different forms. For example, artificial intelligence can actually be used to communicate with the passengers very easily. It can also help the customers to get a customized platform to combat all the needs of getting information regarding their flight or the airlines they are traveling to. AI also helps in terms of managerial decision making or operational decision making what the airport authorities have to make in second. It has also been seen that AI based technologies have helped the airports to improve at a very large place. And also in the major airport of the world, I could say the famous airports of the world, they actually use many AI based platforms to give their passengers a very hassle-free journey and a very satisfied journey ratings too. Gaya Airport is actually in need of such AI-based platform, which would actually help the passengers to get a personalized satisfaction rate from them. Now, the second suggestion or the solution from my side is robotics. We all know that robotics are the second man's best friend. Robotics are the only replacement for humans. Robotics, when used at airports, could be a greatest solution for all the key problems what the airports are currently facing. Robots are the greatest help what the airports could ever get in the future. Presently, there are many airports, worldwide, which are currently using robots as a service medium. Let's take an example of Heathrow Airport or the Hong Kong Airport. At both these airports, robots are being used to actually help or assist them into the two different sectors. That is one in the baggage processing and the other one in the transportation and helping the commuters to reach the place by helping them to navigate the places. So why do you think that robots are the best help for these solutions? Well, I would like to tell you as in why this is the best way of analyzing it. Robots are actually made in such a way that the accuracy is almost plus 90% at at the barest part, and robots are actually like a human being. At the times of COVID, when there is no physical contact needed, robots could be the best way to actually used for the baggage system, or let it be for sanitization or any other process which humans used to do at a kiosk place. But now by the use of robots, then the COVID rate can actually be reduced at the airport. People actually aren't traveling at through airports just because they're afraid that COVID could spread because of the chaos created at the airport. But because of robots, there will be many changes what we could try to see. Now, the other solution, what I think, is the drone technology. As of now, there are many duty-free shopping sites at the airport, or let it be any food restaurant. How drones could actually help this out? Let's take an example. Say that a boarding gate number 30A is 500 from the KFC restaurant, and they are completely at two different terminals. Another person has actually traveled 500 meters, get the KFC and get back again to his boarding gate. Now, isn't that something the person would not like to do? So what could be that? The drone technology can actually be used to import that particular item and get it to the passenger. That's how the drones are used. Let's move on to any other technology. Well, the other technology could be AI-based CCTV surveillance. We know that airports are also very high proved in terms of security. There are security guards, there are CCTVs, but airports are smart, so need the surveillance being smartest. AI-based CCTV camera will help the airport not only identify the normal chaos created at the airport, but also to address areas where manually it cannot be predicted, as in there are any as in there is something unexpected going on there. CCTV based AI can actually help you to spot the person as in where the person is. It can also help in calling out the people. Let's say there's Mr. X who is actually shopping at a duty-free shopping, and his flight is getting late, and there's a call for this passenger. And this passenger is actually not aware for that. Now, how will the airport authority make sure that the passenger who has actually entered the airport has still not got back to his flight? So for that, AI-based CCTV camera could actually, identify that person through his facial recognition and by the use of biometric, and get them that this person is actually located at this particular place, and the airport authority could actually communicate and help that person, to get back to his flight as soon as possible. That's how CCTV surveillance works. Apart from these, we can have machine learning as one of the potential solutions. We could have many different technologies. Let's say we can have a smart wheelchair. For example, in Gaya city, there are many Hajj Yatris who go every year to Makkah Medina and offer a prayer to them. The major part of Hajj Yatris is people who are at their eldest age, let's say above 50, and they're actually in need and support of wheelchairs. At the times of COVID, when no physical contact was required from other people to reduce the risk of COVID, smart wheelchairs could actually help them to get back, to actually go through the walkways from the corridors or the airport entrance to the place where the the planned actually takeoff and boarding is happening. That's how the use of that's how the use of actually the smart wheelchairs can be implemented. Now, coming on to the final part of my video, that is the conclusion. I believe there are ample amount of emerging technology which are being developed. Let's say 5G. 5G can actually help to reduce the problem faced by the airport. As of now, the internet speed is very normal, but once 5G is implemented, the airport's internet service will be completely fast at a very high rate. 5G actually requires a lot of effort because the system for 4G is completely different, and to get an advancement of 5G, you really need a different set of equipments for that. Presently, there are only few particularly items which supports 5G. Let's say Google, Apple, Samsung. These are the only places which supports 5G, and others aren't supporting yet. But in future, we can actually see 5G emerging as one of the major emerging tech which is going to help the aviation industry. Now, why do I think that these are the only potential solutions for all the key issues what I have tried to raise? That's actually my concluding statement. My concluding statement is an analyzation, as in I believe that these are the inculcations of what I have taught in my course. I have thought that these are the particular emerging technologies which are very important in its nature and can actually come into multi-purpose use when once implemented at airport like Gaya. Gaya airport is very small. It lacks infrastructural development, it lacks technology, and that's where emerging technologies can actually help it up. The major reason, why I chose Gaya Airport as my institution was my, travel back journey from Delhi to Gaya. I believe that why Gaya Airport is so small. Why is it not like Delhi Airport? And my whole journey of 2 hours from Delhi to Gaya, actually was spent, by thinking about as in how implications of emerging technology can help Gaya Airport to become, one of the potential airport of India. And the best way to put my views was this assignment. And that is how made me realize that yes, Gaya Airport is actually in need of emerging technologies. And these are the few particular emerging technologies to address all the key issues which has come due to COVID-19. COVID-19 is still gonna stay, but the Gaya Airport has to progress. Gaya Airport has to grow, and the emerging technologies are the only solution to combat all the key issues and to go on a steep slope of growing. The graph should always be increasing, it shouldn't be decreasing, and that's what my future outlook for Gaya Airport would be once these emerging technologies are implemented. Also, I would like to thank Professor Ram for giving us such a nice assignment to actually put whatever we learned, through the span of the course into a particular analyzation view and try to, think from that point of view. I personally felt that this video actually helped me out to, have a more practical knowledge about how these emerging technologies are being used. So special thanks to Professor Ram for, teaching us such a nice subject, and it really had a lot of meaning for me, especially after, my physical application of this subject into terms of my travel journey. That's all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.